Hey, it's a blessing to be back with you. I'm AJ McMahon, and we're excited to be back here as we talk about overcoming ADHD. Why are we doing that? We're talking about empowering children that are around 12 and under. Well, when I say around, it may be we extrapolate to 13, 14, really in that range of development. Also, children or youth will go through a different phase of development when they are in that 13 or 14 year mark, where we definitely know about puberty, but also there's developmental factors when it comes to brain development, where they go from concrete thinking, where they see things in black and white, to abstract thinking, when they start pondering the meaning of life and all kinds of things that they never pondered before, and how these developmental differences impact children. And as we are working with our children and youth, we get a great opportunity to come together in a spirit of empowerment, to look at how we can actually understand them from a developmental perspective, meet them where they are, clear up the confusion, and empower them to succeed like never before. That's why we're here. I'm AJ McMahon. I'm so excited that you're here, that we're here together. We're in this journey together. Please check out in the description below. There's links to this 6-part series in which we're talking about empowering children to overcome medium challenges. Now, a lot of times when we're looking at ADHD, we're really looking at what are the actual challenges a child may be having. And when we look at those challenges, we get to understand that ADHD is a diagnosis, it is a list of symptoms. However, it is narrative to say that children have brain disorders, divergences, or differences that inhibit their ability to overcome the challenges. When I say narrative, please check out other videos as we've talked about that and what the narrative is. The narrative of these things that is not substantiated by the source, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders by the American Psychiatric Association, the only source of diagnosis for ADHD. It's not substantiated by science. It's not substantiated by history. So when we look at the actual accurate information, and I know hearing those things, some of you might say, well, AJ, okay, it's time to turn this off. What are we talking about? Well, I encourage you to look at the resources I provided through these series of videos and look into your own resources to just ask questions, to dive in, to fact check me when it comes to actual history, not the narrative, when it comes to actual science, not the narrative or all of the how do we call it? What I hear a lot of times, people say the research, right? Well, okay, I've asked people, what research have you seen? Not an article that describes research, but what actual research have you seen that's been presented to you that you have vetted? What have you seen in the DSM, not just in the list of symptoms, but the pages and descriptions to go on to say that the DSM itself indicates we've got to go far beyond the symptoms. And when we do this, we get a chance to be challenged in a new way. And many of us don't want to be challenged again because the pain and the suffering of confusion when it comes to what is going on with my child or myself, and being able to have an answer for that, right? Whether it be an answer in description or explanation or an answer in treatment can be so powerful that we don't want to go back to the dark ages of confusion and challenge. However, what I'm indicating for us is that in your wisdom, in your ability, you tap into this to, yes, be challenged again when you're ready in a way that's going to inform you with the accurate information below the surface, that's going to give you the opportunity to empower yourself and children or your child like never before. It is difficult, yet it is worth it, and you are able. So I thank you for being here. We get to continue on this journey as we look at practical wisdom for empowering children to overcome medium challenges. We're in part 6, the final part of this series, and this is going to focus on persevere, persevere, persevere. In the other videos, we've talked about you developing and helping you to develop a comprehensive plan. Now, I've offered information and resources. Please understand that every comprehensive plan I've really been able to see come to fruition has combined that with the other person's, with your wisdom, to bring in your practical wisdom because you have it. And sometimes we can feel so defeated, and we'll get into defeated Dorothy later as an example, but sometimes we can feel so defeated. And actually, let's just go in and dive into that. What I've seen with a lot of people is they're trying to put together their plan and then enact it. Because again, you need a comprehensive plan to be able to focus specifically on the leap steps. Love. Does my child understand that I love him or her? Yes. When they do, the relationship is intact. So we can move to the next step. Expectation of excellence in leap. Yes. I want to have one specific expectation that I'm empowering my child towards. You will do what I tell you the first time. You will not hit. You will obey your teachers. Some specific measurable expectation. We can use a SMART goal format or just some way for you to be able to measure that expectation in yes or no, because children 12 and under developmentally are black and white, concrete thinkers. So we want to make sure that we're measuring in specifics, not abstracts, but specifics, where our measurement is, hey, did you hit or not? Did you do what I told you by the process that I am communicating, like when you're expected to do something? As we look at the last video, that by the third, that there's you communicate what you expect them to do. You back that up by being able to say again more sternly what you expect, and by the third time act. So your children know that when they're expected to move, to act based on your expectation. So whatever that expectation of excellence is, if it is that they will do what you told them, that you have set a standard that you implement consistently so that they know exactly what they're expected to do. A lot of times in our processes, children know what's expected, but our processes are so uh, mired by confusion and challenge and us doing our best, but not really being sure what to do, that children know that they're not expected to do it until we blow our top. You said it 10 times, you've yelled and screamed, you finally kind of, scared them and shocked them to where they've said, okay, yeah, they, okay, they actually mean business at that point. But we are setting a new expectation and empowering them to implement or operate in it in excellence, not perfection. A, affirming accountability. We affirm with words, hold them accountable with actions. Fewer words, more action, because the actions actually empower them. Because when we act, we back up our words. We say, I believe you're capable of meeting this expectation with excellence. And we show them that. We prove that to our children by being able to hold them accountable. I'm not going to let you slide by not meeting this expectation with excellence because I know that's what you're capable of. Then the P, we got to persevere with this plan, the day in and day out. And here's where we get into the a couple of different people, for example, metaphors that I run into. One is doubting Dorothy, and doubting Dorothy can doubt well, it can be male or female. Okay. But anyway, bear with me. Okay. But in the doubting Dorothy scenario, this is a person who doubts themselves to some degree, and maybe even to a great degree because of their experiences, or maybe where they are as far as their own worth, or what people have communicated to them about their value, their wisdom, their abilities. So a doubting person can doubt themselves. They could also doubt their plan, or if this is going to be effective, because most of the time people have tried everything and nothing's worked. So why are we doing this again, AJ? Because a lot of times when people put together a comprehensive plan and persevere, the last step in leap, love, expectation of excellence, affirming accountability, and perseverance. We persevere for weeks and oftentimes months. I encourage people to persevere with a plan for at least 6 months. In a legacy, that can be a long time, but in a legacy of a lifetime, just consider that to persevere. That a lot of times when people persevere, that's when they see the breakthrough. Because a lot of times what we're doing is switching up tactics, giving into doubt, and not really being consistent based on these factors. But when a person perseveres, they get a great chance to unlock what they're capable of and what their child is capable of. So the doubting person, first, I would just say, have a bit of faith in yourself and have a bit of faith in your child's ability. Faith is the evidence of what we cannot see, right? So have some faith in yourself and your plan and stick with it for at least 6 months. Give it your best shot to be consistent. Have faith in your child. Many of you have not seen your child be able to demonstrate the abilities or the hopes that you have for them. Yet we're in a state of, okay, I'm going to almost have a blind faith that my child is able, even though I haven't seen it. Maybe I wonder, I question, I'm not even sure if they can. That's okay. You can bring that as long as with this, you are giving it your best shot to for at least 6 months to see what can happen. See for yourself. Just give yourself the opportunity. Okay, we're looking at a couple of movie references. I like movies. I don't know about you, but a lot of times I think about movie clips and movie references. So we're going to talk about um, doubting. Actually, in my notes, I have defeated Dorothy or doubting Dorothy. Okay, but you get the point. Uh, but we're going to talk about a scene from the Marvel Universe. And in the Marvel Universe, there's a character Thor, and in Thor's experience, he is fighting an enemy named Thanos. He gets beat pretty bad, and he has a scene with his adoptive mother, Frigga. And in this scene, Thor is presenting, he's depressed, he's confused, he really feels defeated. And the advice that his adoptive mother gives him is this: everyone fails at who they're supposed to be, Thor. The measure of a person, of a hero, is how well they succeed at being who they are. You get an opportunity, we get an opportunity to succeed at being who we are, not who you see on Facebook or Insta scam, but we get to opportunity to be who we are. And who you are is enough. You are enough. You are able to empower the child or the children that have been placed in your care, personally or professionally. Have some faith in yourself, in your child, and persevere. We're also going to talk about the next challenge that I see, the next block that I see with people. And we're going to refer to this person as I know Nikki. Okay. And maybe and this could be, anyway, I know Nikki. So Nikki is a person, and we're going to take it from a male standpoint. Nikki is a guy. And again, this is not gender specific in real life, but you go and I'll cover it. So Nikki is a guy who just kind of, he knows. He believes that he knows. He believes that he knows that his child has a certain challenge or difficulties and what that means. That Nikki has accepted the societal view of a child from a disorder perspective, not a developmental perspective. Nikki knows that the child has a certain or combination of disorders and what that means. However, this is what we're here to challenge because that's narrative. And this movie reference, and again, we're not trying to be demeaning, we're trying to highlight that there can be certain blocks and we get to examine ourselves. Are we, to what degree are we mired in defeat? To what degree do we believe we know when it comes to our children? How can we be open to new possibilities that can create the opportunity for new possibilities in the development advancement, overcoming of a child. This is the courageous journey that we're on. In this courageous journey, we think about the movie, the first version of Avatar. Now there are many versions of Avatar. We got the way of the water and the way of the fire and the way of the sky and the way of the earth. Anyway, Avatar's blowing up doing his thing. We're talking about the first movie, Avatar, and there's a scene in the movie where the main character, Jake Sully, is encountering the indigenous people of the planet he's on, the Na'vi, and he is indicating, he communicates to one of the leaders, Moat, when she asks why he's there. And he says, uh, I'm here to learn. Well, Moat replies to Jake Sully. Well, he says, I came to learn. Okay. Moat replies, well, we have tried to teach other sky people. He is a sky person. Then she tells Jake Sully, it is hard to fill a cup which is already full. In this, we get an opportunity to realize that our cup is filled with wisdom. However, the world wants to fill our cup with knowledge that often carries a narrative that causes us to suppress our wisdom. I want to challenge us to open ourselves up to maybe consider and challenge the knowledge that knowing can be powerful, it can be comforting. However, sometimes when we're ready, we get to challenge what we know. And challenge what we know doesn't mean we're going to change what we believe. It just means that are we willing to open our minds to possibilities when it comes to maybe what may be going on with our children and what they're capable of? And when we can get past the known and to really dive into what is accurate from a developmental perspective of children, a historical perspective, a scientific perspective, and a DSM perspective when it comes to ADHD, to whatever degree that we're willing to go. And even if there's a challenge, I believe in you. I believe you can find some practical resources that can help inform below the surface what you believe and how you operate. And I think this can unlock our ability to persevere, because many times when we get into the plan and the struggles are there, we can be tempted to want to give up. And that's the thing. We are humans. The pain, the frustration, confusion, that when we implement a plan, one of the keys is that with psychotropic drugs, a lot of time they're called medications for ADHD, but I call them psychotropic drugs because that's what they are. Again, drugs not in bad or good, but more so referring to them accurately for what they are. They are powerful influencers on immediate performance, where struggles can happen for months or years, but something like Adderall or Daytrana or Ritalin or some other psychotropic can be introduced, and there can be immediate and powerful changes and the palpable relief that that can bring. Beyond that, we get an opportunity to recognize that plans that we develop and we implement do not have that, will likely not have that immediate effect. Or even if it does, that immediate effect can last up to 2 weeks, and then things get worse. Typically, what I see are two patterns when people implement a plan with their children to empower them to overcome ADHD, the medium challenges, the hard challenges, the easy challenges. Either the children in the first couple of weeks snap to and they get so much better, and it's like hallelujah chorus, although there's skepticism because you don't know if it's going to last, and inevitably it doesn't last. Within about 2 weeks, things get worse, or things get worse right away. People get discouraged, they feel defeated, and oftentimes they say, well, here we go. I kind of I already knew something more was going on. I already knew that maybe this wasn't going to work. I already knew that maybe my child has a disorder. Beyond that, the perseverance can get to the point where when we stick with that plan, we get the opportunity to recognize the accurate information that things often get worse before they get